Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Ask the Experts for Tuesday, 19 April. My name is Carl Capilingua. I'm the market analyst over here at Think Markets Australia, and it is a pleasure to be with you as we unlock your portfolios and get to the bottom of all of your portfolio problems. Pretty simple agenda for you today. We're going to throw over to you in somewhere in your Zoom setup there. You'll have a window, type in the stocks that you're interested in, and I'll give you my best analysis for the next hour or so. First up, Barry is fastest on the draw today, and he's got HIO. He said, wow, looking for a retracement, 42 to 46 cents perhaps. Cheers, Baz. BHP on screen, probably should mention that, probably shouldn't flick away too quickly. Look what a wonderful chart that is. Certainly it's been on the radar for many weeks now. If there is one little item of concern, it is the fact that we are approaching what is, let's face it, going to be a rather large pool of supply. And that's just a fact that the last time BHP got up to this level, just around $54, it looks so good as well. So no doubt there were so many investors piling into BHP. I remember at the time a lot of talking heads on TV saying that, you know, it's a cornerstone to any portfolio. So no doubt when it collapsed, let's say, due to the iron ore price doing the same, and there's some dividends in there as well, a lot of people would have been regretting that decision. So when we get back close to that level, that's when people who got in there think, okay, finally I'm breaking even, and we'll want to sell. Now, not everybody's going to think like that, and we might find very few people think like that. We don't see a great deal of supply coming out at that level. But hey, if there are people thinking that way, we could see a pause here, if only because it's, hey, a resistance level. Technical analysts will say, well, I'm not going to buy at a resistance level. What we'd prefer to see is some evidence, right? Evidence in the market that we are working through, let's just abbreviate there, the supply at that level. And we call them tests, don't we? So we say, well, we need to see at least a first test, but preferably we could see second or further tests of that supply level, removing that supply. We might even see a little bit of volume there to say that that supply has been removed, and then we could get through. So if you don't have BHP in your portfolio, maybe that's when you'd look to buy into it. Otherwise, I think it's a very solid hold from here. Now, a bit of a coincidence heading over to HIO, because it's another iron ore company. Iron ore prices doing well at the moment, not shooting the lights out, but just steady as she goes. And that's all we need for our iron ore stocks to perform. And many of these small ones perform as good as this one is. Hawsons Iron, 20 cents, 55 cents, great run. I'm guessing Barry might have done a little bit of managing his exits. I can't see a lot of reason to do so though, Barry, because it just looks so strong from here. So let's just zoom in a little bit. And if we look at the supply candles that have come in, and let's call that one there, there's a little supply candle there, that black one, there's a little one there, and there's a slightly more sinister one here, but it's hardly convincing when you compare, say, this supply candle to the size of the demand candle that preceded it, and the fact that it had a bit of a lower shadow there. So I'm probably looking at that one saying, look, I'm just going to hang on and see how we go. And indeed, today's candle so far, and this is a live candle, you have to remember, Ask the Experts is a live session. It happens in the middle of the trading day, so these candles can change by the end. But so far, so good. Yeah, a little bit of a shadow developing up top, which means there's a bit of supply coming in, but otherwise, I would say the balance of that candle is towards the demand side of the market. So it all looks good from here. It's a hold. I know we started talking about it ages ago, and I'm going to say even from here, and maybe even earlier, correct me if I'm wrong, but I started tweeting about this one. So 2 or 3 bagger potentially, depending where you got on, and it's a hold for me. I can't see any reason to start to manage your exits at this stage, and no doubt we'll see charts. If you're a first-time listener, I've asked the experts, you're probably wondering, what the hell is Carl talking about, this manage your exits? Well, we'll find out about that as we go along. So to answer your question, Barry, does it look good for a retracement? Does it look set for a retracement? No, I can't see a great deal of supply coming to this level. Now, here's the thing, and because this is a live session, we should discuss this. So if we see a candle that doesn't look like that looks more like this, okay, so if this occurs here, right, then I'm going to say, well, hey, 2 days in a row where supply's in the market, together, they're starting to look like they're having a larger impact on demand, and therefore we might move to something towards managing our exits, in which case I would only go at most here -1/3. Now, some people get a bit cranky with me when I do this, but say, hey, Carl, why don't you just get all out and take a wonderful profit? And I say, well, I don't know where it's going. I know that by the third exit, I'm pretty sure the trend is over, but I want to keep some skin in the game, so I'm still, potentially plus 2/3 here, because this thing might get to $1. And I don't want to be that person that whinges and moans and groans about getting out at 50 for something that got to $1. At least, I'll carry 2/3 there, or I might even get another re-entry signal for that 1/3. So I like Hawsons, stick with it. Next couple here, they're from Chris. He's got GMA, which is Genworth Mortgage Insurance. Now, very important we zoom out here. It's very easy to make the mistake of zooming in and having a look at all this fine detail, and then you go to the next chart and you go, oh, that looks amazing, and you forget to zoom out, and then you see all the resistance that is up ahead. Now, it's not the case on this one, but it could be on that next one that you look at. In fact, this one has actually broken through its resistance level. So we talked about BHP's pool of supply that's waiting upstairs for it. And we talked about this need to bang into that supply and remove a bit of it. You can see actually we've got some elevated volume as we do it, because that's that transactional, it's people getting in, getting out. We're churning, the demand's there, and it's churning through that supply. So remember, volume is buying and selling. So elevated volume is, at that level. I call it supply removal. We're probably 2-3 tests before we got through. It's a little bit soggy at the moment though. Let me read Chris's comments here. Are you able to review GMA for me, please? Yes, I am. I closed my positions a few weeks ago with a decent gain. Well done. I'm eager to get back in, but waiting for a pullback. Any reading on the chart that suggests a pullback, please, down to say 280. Yes, I think there is a potential for a pullback here, because I've got to point out these candles, which I really don't care for, to be honest. I don't like that one, and I don't like that one either. And the fact that this one, this big black one, comes after this really strong demand candle. So I would have said, okay, breakout, finally, here we go, off to the races, here we go. And then we see this wipeout here. I think it gets a lot of those technical traders on the back foot. A lot of people who are buying this trend for the breakout are now thinking, oh, that doesn't look so good now. And they're in wait and see mode. So it might cause some of that demand to back off a little bit. Clearly there's supply in the market. If that takes over and say pushes prices, sort of beneath those lows, and I'll give you some levels here. So that low there, 295, you can see 295, I bet you 296.5, 295. Okay, we're getting a little bit of a picture here, aren't we? 295, 295, 295. So there is demand in the system, and it's don't forget, the market is run by algorithms. They're computers programmed to do certain things, and there is a buy order sitting there at 295, no doubt. And so far, it's enough to soak up this pesky supply that's in the market. Now, if we get below that 295 level, guess what's probably happened to that buy order? That demand has been filled, and it's now holding stock. And if we're below there, well, clearly the supply has taken over. In that case, Chris, then you probably will get a pullback, maybe to 280, certainly around here, might even get into 270s. Look, if I had it, I would probably hang on to it, because I don't think there's enough evidence just to suggest just yet that you need to get out of it. 295 is a clear level. Close below that, then we're probably going to manage our exits. If I didn't have it, I think you've got plenty of time to wait and watch this one for a potential pullback. Having said 280, high 270s are a possibility. There's plenty of support in here as well, isn't there? So I think let's just wait and see on the candles. I know that's a bit of a cop-out, isn't it? But at the end of the day, that's all we can do is wait and see what candles come next. And what they're telling us about the market, big white candles, lower shadows, seeing a little bit of a lower shadow today, going to tell us that demand actually is holding strong. The supply that's in the market, it was pesky. It's a little bit of profit-taking. The psychology of $3 is probably having an impact. And white candles closing above this high here, I'd say that. Let's look at that high there. Close above 307. It was nothing to worry about. We're off to the races again. In which case, Chris, you probably want to get some money back in at that stage. And if you pay a little bit more than when you got out, that's not a problem either, because if it's going to $4, who cares if you got out at 298 and got back in at 308? Who cares? Absolutely nobody. In fact, you shouldn't care either. The market certainly doesn't care. Okay, Chris has asked for SPK. Let's have a look at that one. Now, we need to zoom out, don't we? We need to get back out to our broader trend, and I generally like to have about 18 months on the chart up to about 2 years. Any more than that, I think you're probably getting into ancient history. But this one looks very good, and it's one of those utility stocks, which I do like. I like the white candles. I like the recent price actions. So we're seeing, if we sort of draw in the last little bit of price action, we've got a little peak there, a little trough there, a little peak here, and a little trough here, and then we're heading back up. If you look at going to zoom in again. Now, if you look at the trough to peak separation, now what does that mean? Let me change these colours, because that black is hard to see on the candle. So let's go green. So that's Think Markets green, isn't it? There we go. So we go here and we go here, and we can see that the pullbacks are well above the previous points of supply. So demand is coming in. We're also seeing that the short-term trend just starting to assert itself again. Long-term trend, I think, is moving back to the upside, and we're seeing some support around that level, if we could call it that, but otherwise pretty good. A little bit of supply in here, and a close, I would say, above that level there, 448, so 450 or better, and we're probably going to go into this level here. Is that the best stock on the ASX at the moment? No, it's not. And I'd say probably far from it, but if you had it, there's certainly encouraging signs to hang on. If you didn't have it, it looks good, but I think there are better stocks out there. Why? Well, swing from 450 to 475 is okay, but it's hardly going to get anybody excited. So if you got it, hang on to it. Otherwise, it's a pass for me, but looks okay. Okay, EIQ, this one's come from David. Welcome, David. I don't think we've had a David in here before, so always great to get new people into Ask the Experts. Echoic, and a new stock. Well, I've never heard of this one. That I don't even know how to pronounce it, but it looks good. I like this shape that we've got to the chart here. So we've got this this run up through here where, let's face it, nobody knew about it. Then all of a sudden people know about it, and it seems to be great. Volume is skewed by this big bar here, so I'd have to zoom in there to get an idea of how that volume panned out, and I'm probably going to have to do it. See if once I get this off the screen, see how it changes the scale, then I get to see what else is going on. It just needs, so you can see here, there was interest. Is there interest now? Well, it's very quiet. This is good because it showed there was a bit of interest coming back in, but we're very quiet down here. And I think that's the problem for EIQ at the moment, David, is we just need to see a bit of interest. But it is working off a really nice base. So this is all good here. These are charts, of stocks that have potential. They've got great potential. Let's just see some interest come in. Let's see some white candles come in, pushing up sort of into 17s. And then I'm not even too fussed about these. I think you could probably get through those pretty quickly, but it would just be a hold at best for now. Okay, now we do have some cryptos coming through from Craig, and in anticipation of those, Craig, I got the crypto chart ready. So let's have a look at Atom. Sorry for not being able to do it last time. Atom, bottom of the range is probably all I can say here. Trends are not helpful. Short-term trend is down, long-term trend indiscriminate, but you can see how we're hovering almost like the cardiograph blipping above and below it. There is some hope here in that 20, big round number, clearly is demand. So we can see demand here, and maybe a little bit coming in here. That gets me to a hold. I don't think it's a buy at this stage. I think we probably need to see some positive price action first. So some higher peaks and higher troughs, some nice candles coming in, maybe even a little bit of volume to tell me there's some interest there, and maybe moving back through sort of 28s. Even then though, we're restricted by the top of the range at 34, I guess the mini range at 34, and then potentially even to 46. So it would be hard to find this at the top of my, my crypto list on any particular day in the near future, I would expect. Now, let's head back to stocks. This one is from John. He's got ESS, which is Essential Metals. Now, this looks wonderful. Let me just zoom out a little bit as well, just to get back to sort of that default zoom. So I can't see any big areas of supply. And this is why we do that. This is why we zoom out, because we're looking for those big pools of supply that might be in the market. Now, it's not there. It's not there. So this is the pool of supply we need to deal with. Are we dealing with it? Yeah, I think we are. Certainly, this is our pool of supply, and we like to see that first test. And we should not be surprised at all that first test fails. This is all the stuff we talk about here. So good that the market's playing ball and basically doing exactly what I said it should. We're holding the short-term uptrend, that's nice. Long-term uptrend looks good. I like the candles. Price action could be better, but you often find, remember I said, my favourite price action. So this is wonderful price action here. I mean, that is just as good as it gets, isn't it? So if we say that we've got this great trough to peak separation through here, all right? But sometimes when we're pushing up against a big pool of supply, this can all get compressed. So it's one of the few times that I can say, well, I can forgive price action not being ideal when we are, pushing into this pool of supply. You kind of expect it to compress a little bit. And if you look in the technical analysis textbooks, they'll talk about triangles and pennants, and often you find them being caused by pools of supply. If not a pool of supply, then we we're looking for this price action here. So I'm okay with that. Candles look good, especially today's candle. A little bit of a shadow coming. John, I don't need to explain to you why there's a shadow there. It's that supply working. It's all the people that got in here. You know, they didn't get in here. They didn't get in here. They refused to buy here. They said, I'm not buying that. That looks too expensive. No, it's too expensive. No, I can't buy it. And then this X marks the spot. That's the day they got in. And they thought, oh, I'm going to be great. And then no. Then they felt like absolute losers here, of course. And they start praying and they say, please God, if you just let Essential Metals go back to 62 cents where I got in, I promise I will get out. If you can just let me break even on this one, I'll do your deal. I will never trade Essential Metals again. And, finally, the maker complies, and here we are. And, of course, they want to sell and get out. And the irony of it is that they're probably going to get out right here as it then rockets through that pool of supply, because demand is great. We know demand's great. Look at the build-up of demand there. And then, it gets to $1. And, of course, they lament getting out at 62 cents for break even, and they complain that they just never get the good ones, do they? What a shame. I would hold this. I'd actually be looking to buy this. I think this is a buy here. Look, if you're a bit more aggressive, it's a buy straight up today. If you're a bit more conservative, then wait till we close above the pool of supply, and then I think it's pretty convincing that demand is sufficient to get us through to the next level. So it's a nice one. MQG, let's have a look at that one. And I'm going to have to do a few things to the chart here to reset it. So we're going to reset the scale. Then we're going to zoom out to see if there are any big pools of supply lurking, waiting in the system. Doesn't seem to be the case, but we do have to deal with this one, obviously. And I wouldn't say we've tested it yet. I know there's a sort of a little peak in here, but I don't think this is talking to this yet. But otherwise, it looks great. We've got all the stuff we like to see. So the short-term uptrend, long-term uptrend, some nice candles coming in. Price action looks pretty good. Yes, there's a bit of consolidation here, but the fact it's happening above $2, I think, is also very constructive. So getting above 2, holding 2. 2 goes from sort of resistance to support, from point of supply to point of demand. All looks good. Absolute hold. I can't see any reason why you'd sell it. If you don't have it, would I buy it? Well, it's a bit like that Spark, isn't it? Spark Infrastructure, where yeah, it looks good, but is it the best thing that I could put my money on today? And I'm probably going to say not. So strong hold is the best I can probably go today for you, John, on Macquarie Group. Next one is for a different John, I promise you. And this John has asked for MGT, which is Magnetite Mines. Fascinating little chart. I can't say I know a great deal about the company, apart from the fact that I'm guessing it's something to do with iron ore, because this says magnetite here. And I know every other iron ore stock has gone up. Now, I didn't do a featured list on Thursday, a little bit because I'm lazy, plus I just wanted to get into my long weekend. But I reckon if I did do a feature chart on Thursday, this would have been in it, and ironically, would have been a total dud today. Look at that. What I can do, let me see, what time is it? 11:21. Good. Okay, I'm going to check for an update. Because with my data provider, which is Norgate Data, I get hourly updates, and they come at 20 past the hour. So we've just gone there, and hopefully this will update. We might change a little bit on screen, very little bit of demand coming back in at that demand point. And it's a great volume yesterday. Not sure what happened today. Maybe there was some news, but taking out today, and we wish we could, but we can't. But I would say you would hang on to this, because the chart looked immensely, fantastically wonderful. So I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and say that today is just one of those things. If there is news, let me know. But otherwise, look, I think there's nothing there to hang in there. I'm not too stressed out about this just yet. There's just less deadwood for the next time we push up. I would hang on to it on the basis that I love this pattern. So I like this. This everybody knew about it. Then it goes into this hibernation. We get going again, and we do it on some volume. We get that push. Volume sort of comes off a little bit, and then we get the next push through here. And it's just all about supply removal. So I'd hang on to that one, give it the benefit of the doubt. John, and he also wants IPL. Disappointing day today, isn't it? I mean, it looked great yesterday. This one looks fantastic. It's certainly one that I've been tweeting about for a few weeks now. I can't see any reason to sell it. Today's candle is not ideal. It's not 10 out of 10, but it's still better than 5. It's probably 6 out of 10 because it's got that nice lower shadow there. A little bit of a black candle, but doing all the right things at $4. Obviously $4, one of those round numbers we've discussed in previous sessions. So no surprise we get a bit of a supply event there. And I tend not to stress about supply when they happen at very logical areas. So previous pools of previous resistance. I know there's a pool of supply there or a round number. Don't worry about them. Don't bother me at all. And really, tend to sort of hang on even if we get a little bit of supply there, and then any resumption through there is very strong. So 100% hold that one. Would I buy it? Well, maybe with a stronger candle today, I think I could buy it. Yeah, as a bit more of a portfolio stock, a bit more of a longer term one. So pretty happy with that one. I'm guessing you probably already got that one though, John. Doug's got PH2. Well, let's have a look at PH2, which is the hydrogen company, and we have looked at this one in the past. As you can see, we've got all the scratchings there, and we've talked about this pool of supply, and I wonder where we were. I wonder if we were here. I wonder if this was the day we looked at it, because you can see that day finished in a supply event, wasn't it? And again, it's happened at that level, so that makes sense. So I wouldn't stress out too much about that one. It's there, but I'm getting a bit stressed out about some of the things that have happened since then, so I don't like this. You know, the first one, okay, I get it. There's a pool of supply there. This one, no, you shouldn't be getting more aggressive with your supply. You should be getting less aggressive. If I really am clearing supply, the thing that probably is holding this back is the lack of volume through here, the lack of oomph, the lack of removal of this supply, which meant that they started to get a bit more nervous, and they're actually sort of showing their hand a little bit more here. This is encouraging, this little hold here. This is okay. Yeah, I'm going to say hold, but it's not looking fantastic. So let's see this one get back above 50 real quick, and then these two shadows are key. So close above 52, fantastic. Close above 55, and I'd say we're a buy here. We're in buy territory, but we're probably going to need some volume to come in to tell us that we have traded with this dead wood, because clearly this dead wood is really hanging in there at the moment, aren't they? So a little bit concerned about that one for Doug, but I'm just going to go with the hanging on the basis of today's candle, and hopefully that gets better and better for you. Let's have a look at VML for Andreas, and then he's got Aristocrat coming next. Let's not forget also to zoom back out, because we want to see pools of supply on screen, and there is a very, very substantial one here, no doubt, and probably a little bit here. This second one is good because I would classify that as a first test. Okay, so the good news is we're starting to interact with that supply, we're starting to remove it. How much are we removing? Okay, well, yeah, quite a bit actually, aren't we? So we've obviously done some analysis on this recently. So we are removing quite a bit of supply there. That's handy. How much supply could be there? We'll have a look at the previous volume. Have a look at the previous volume. This is telling you how many people got stuck in it. Okay, for every seller there's a buyer, and the buyers were stuck in. So not bad. And it's probably good to have this one after the last one of pure hydrogen, where we saw very little volume, very little indication that the market was, just look how little that volume is compared to this one and this one. Whereas I think with VML, yeah, I think we're getting a little bit more traction, a bit more traction. Hang on to this, I can't see any reason to sell it. The price action looks good, the candles are okay. This is a bit of a worry here, but it's happening at a logical place. It's pretty simple, isn't it? We need to trade with the dead woods. For that to occur, we need the broader market and you know, mining stocks to continue to be the focus of investors, and there's every chance you can get through. I think it's a solid hold. Would I buy it? Is it the best stock out there today? Probably not, and we'll continue to search for it. Is the next one the best stock today? Aristocrat Leisure? No, this is probably, well, it's not probably, it's the worst stock we've seen today. It's the opposite of everything we want to see. So we aren't in a short-term uptrend. We're in a very well-established short-term downtrend. We're not in a long-term uptrend. We're in a long-term downtrend. We are not bouncing off these levels like we have in the past, say long-term support or even short-term support. Look how reliable these areas were. In fact, if anything, we're seeing the opposite. So you can see us bouncing down now. So on the way up, these support zones act like a trampoline. On the way down, they act like a trampoline. That's upside down, pushing price back down. We did actually move through this low here, but not with a huge bang. I mean, I think there's a little bit of demand coming in. This candle here is okay, but the developing candle today is quite bearish. So there's every chance I think we break through this low here, close beneath that low, and it's probably good night. 32.60, is there a long way down? There's probably going to be some demand in around that $30. Should you hold it? Well, if you're quite happy to lose another $2 before there's any chance of it rallying, then hold it. Who am I to tell you to get out? If you want to do something better with that money, while you would otherwise have lost the $2, then you probably would get out and come back to this one at another time when it's showing better signs of demand in the system. So I'm going to have to go sell on that one. I can't really see many or any redeeming features. Northern Star. Now this is one of the few gold stocks that have really got going. And maybe Chris is asking because it's probably the last one, isn't it, to actually get moving. He says, is Northern Star still a buy? Oh, if so, what levels? Is it still a buy? Well, that's interesting. It hasn't been a buy for many, many months. If we zoom out, I can tell you the last time you could have even contemplated it as a buy would have been sort of around here, maybe sort of around here, but it hasn't been a buy for all of this time. But you know, we've seen some encouraging signs. So we talked about the importance of this long-term trend zone and how we find that we've got this upside down trampoline working against the price, almost like clockwork. It's really quite tragic sometimes, isn't it? how reliable it is, and in the short term you're seeing that as well. But we do get to a stage where prices rally enough to start to flip that equation, and we go back to this idea of this area providing demand, providing support, both in the short term and long term. So, you know, I'm happy not to buy it at $8. So people say, hey, you know, I mean, why are you looking to buy it now at 11 or 11.50? You could have just bought it at 8. And I said, well, I could have bought it at 8, but I didn't know that was going to be the low. It could have gone to 6, it could have gone to 5. I'm happy to give this $3.50 to give me more confidence that the balance of demand and supply has shifted in the market. Until I see that evidence, why would I take the risk? And some people say, no, there's no risk down here because it's very cheap. Well, I don't know if it's cheap. You know, I can do all the analysis in the world and not know what the market thinks, and that's what matters. So I think the market's starting to like this one again. Is it my favourite gold stock? No, it's not. Can you buy it? Yes, you probably can. Will you be disappointed that you bought this one compared to some of my favourite gold stocks? Probably. Okay, but if anything, perhaps we've given you, if you're a long-suffering holder of Northern Star, at least you've got some more confidence now to hang on to it. Yeah, I think you can buy it. It's not the worst one out there. Alkane, I think, looks really good. Even Newcrest, actually, starting to look very good. Perseus looks good. Red 5, you know, I've been covering that one for many, many months now. But Calidus, CAI, and these are frustrating because they keep going up, but, you know, I keep telling you to buy them and they keep going up, and I know many of you follow me on Twitter and you probably see Capricorn up there every second day and you go, I can't buy that one because it's gone up too much. And then you see me put it up the next day and it's gone up even more. And you probably go, probably should have bought that one. Emerald Resources, yeah, that looks fantastic. That looks really good. So yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to buy those charts at the bottom left, top right sometimes. And we tend to get drawn to these ones because we kind of feel they're a bit cheaper and we don't feel so silly when we buy them and then they go down. So yeah, well, I think it's good. Maybe the other ones are better. So I know we kind of got off topic there, but I think there's some important learnings for you all. And we've got Harry here. Now Harry, we'll go from Barry to Harry. We've got Macquarie Group, MAD. That was another great looking chart there. It still looks great. I say was because this here concerns me. So this one I'm not happy about. Now this is very good, but I think the black candle unfortunately is more powerful than the white candle. White candle is amazing, don't get me wrong, because it's happening in the right zone, it's happening here. And we've got this uptrend, the price action's good, we're consolidating above that level. In fact, we're holding, look at that hold there to there. Yes, we're having $3 issues here, we're having a round number issues. That's probably it. You know, we had $2 issues really, didn't we? Yeah, a little bit worried about these. I'm more worried about the supply candles than I am enthused about the demand candles. But having said all that, you must absolutely give this one the benefit of the doubt until it does something really terrible, like break below that low there. That low there is 271. So close below 271, I think we're in some trouble on this one. Otherwise, give it the benefit of the doubt on the basis that we are still doing well at 3. Close above here would be very good. That high there, 315. So the 316 is great, and then a close above here, and we're off to the races again. So 325 with the key levels. But it's a solid hold for me in the meantime. I wouldn't be buying it just yet if I didn't have it though, for the reasons we discussed. Now, Harry's been a bit cheeky here because he's gone for 4 stocks. So let's do them quickly. Aussie Broadband, I love. I know I've been tweeting about that for a while. It's finally starting to come good. It's been a bit of a slow grind, but I don't expect this to be your mining company, 4 or 5 bagger in a few months like Hawsons Iron has been. Perhaps it's just a slow burn It's more of a portfolio stock, and I think it looks great. There's nothing in here to suggest that you wouldn't continue to hold it or that you wouldn't buy it. But you are, if you're buying it today, let's face it, you're a little bit far away from the zone. So you know I like to buy things in the zone with nice candles, and we've seen a nice candle there. I wouldn't have bought it on that day because this candle is too scary for me, but certainly this one, and then this one, that's your buy day. At the close of that candle or even the open of that one, and we're looking pretty good from here. So very, very happy indeed with that one. Hang on to it, Harry. Now, BGL. Now, of course, when I say Harry, hang on to it, I have to be very careful what I say because this is all general advice. So remember, Harry, assess it within your own personal financial circumstances. Disclaimer, 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 and decide what you do. I'm just calling the charts as I see them based upon my experience. Bellevue Gold looks pretty good, probably in the category of that Northern Star chart, isn't it? It's one of those slow grinders hoping to get going again. I think there's enough in it to hold it. I think we can see why. I think, we can see that the long-term trend is changing. We can see the short-term trend is supporting again. We can see lots of white candles in there. That's pretty good. But the price action is a bit ugly, let's face it. And then we've got lots of pools of supply. So it's just hard work. It's just hard work to get through those things. And I'd rather find easier plays within the gold sector. So if you have it, there's enough to hold it. If you don't have it, it's just not my favourite gold pick. And I've discussed some of those which are. Now, Centaurus Metals. Now, this is definitely one, again, that has been on my tweet list for many, many weeks, if not months. And it looks wonderful. And look at that, Stairway to Heaven. Looks amazing. Should you hold it? Of course you should. It's doing everything we want. Everything we want. Should you buy it? I would buy this. I think this looks great. This is one of my favourite charts today. So thank you for bringing that to my attention, Harry. Assuming it closes here, and that's a big assumption because we're still trading, it will be one of my feature charts today on Twitter. James is saying, hey Carl, looking at Audinate this week. Okay, AD8. Gosh, it is a tricky one, isn't it? Because I remember we were looking at it here and we were saying wonderful things about it. And how it was kind of working through this and it was holding nicely. But unfortunately, it didn't continue. And this is a key breakdown here, isn't it? This is key. This is not a terrible candle. I'm trying to go back in time and say, well, what were the signs we could have used? This is not good. I don't like that. And I don't like that either. But really through here, I mean, this is, if you're still holding it through there, you're a very, very brave person, or you are ignoring what the market is telling you. It gave you one more chance here, isn't it? Because this here is the almightiest of almightiest get the hell out candles. And it's still not looking good. I mean, look at today's candle in what is an up market. That upper shadow is telling me that we've still got supply in the system. You can just see that short-term supply coming in. On the rallies, we are sell the rally, not buy the dip. Long-term trend now established. And really, we have to zoom out now to see, well, is it buy, hold, sell? Well, it's not a buy. I think we've completely ruled that out. And then we have to go, well, how much further can it go down? Well, there's 5, obviously big round number, and the top of that zone is probably coming in around here. So if it's any consolation, I think we're going into that zone, and it's a bit like, what was that other one? It's the other one that didn't look very good. Maybe it was Aristocrat, where you say, you're kind of tossing up, well, do I hang on, knowing it's probably going to go down a bit more, and then maybe make a low, or do I get out and look for something better? I'm leaning to the second scenario there. It's just so hard. I can't see any reason to own it at this stage, unfortunately. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news there, James. Now, let's try and find some good news. I'm sure the next chart's going to be amazing. It's not. It looks awful, and it looks very similar to the other one. And what is unfortunate here is, again, I'm pretty sure I actually had this as my feature chart sort of through here and through here. I haven't had it for a very long time. And the reason why I haven't is it's just stopped doing the right thing. So if you see them stop appearing in my feature charts, that's probably not a good sign. And come to ask the experts and ask about them so you don't end up hanging on through something like this. And we're going to end up saying a lot of things about this one that we said about Audinate. And I think if you're holding through here and then you've given these get out of jail cards here and here, I think you're a very, very brave person, because I think, the trend, the balance of probability, the balance of, this is a demand side market. Then we move into this equilibrium market, right? And then this here, without a doubt, starts a market where supply is in control of prices. This is all about buying the dip, yep, and trusting the trade and trusting the trend and giving it room to move, right? This is about tightening things up. tightening up stop losses, tightening up our thinking, being really harsh, really strict on it, and saying, hey, you put one more foot out of line, Buster, you're out of my portfolio, and here is just all about you just can't be in. You have to be out, and there's no reason to be in. Today's candle's interesting. Having said that, there's a bit of volume there, but it's not enough to get me into it. I can't call this one a hold even, so I'm sorry for Anonymous that you're in that one. XTE, maybe Anonymous is going to do some good things here. Anonymous has. So Anonymous is completely made up for PPS with XTE, Xtek. Looks great. I'm pretty sure I have seen this one on my scans, and I have not put it in as a feature chart because I'm waiting for it. And what I'm waiting for is the break of this long-term trend zone. Okay, so we've talked about the importance of flipping that supply-side market to demand, and this is an important step. The short-term trend is established. This is amazingly wonderful volume, supply removal volume, and a change in price action equals supply removal. How much supply is there to remove? Stacks. I mean, there's a lot of dead wood waiting to get out of this thing, but we're doing a good job of it today. So if you have this one, absolutely hold it, assuming it closes there, of course, because if we build this big shadow here and we close near the lows, then everything changes. It shows how important today is and waiting for the close. But assuming we close there, you know, it is the epitome of demand and strength in the market. So that would be a hold. And in fact, what I'm doing now, it wouldn't even be a feature chart today, because what I need to see now. So now it's been on the radar for a while. Now it's very much, I have to continue to monitor this every day, because what I'm looking for now is any sort of pullback and test. And it could be just a single candle, it could be a single lower shadow that points down into this zone now, okay? And as soon as I see confirmation that this zone has gone from acting as resistance to support, that's when it becomes the feature chart, especially if we get some really nice candles in that box there. Okay, so this one has to be on your watch list, and I'm guessing maybe Anonymous has that in their portfolio and they should consider holding on to it. I like it. Chris is talking about BHP resistance at 54. One difference this time could be global investors piling in. I reckon they were piling in last time because iron ore was looking pretty hot. I think maybe the difference is iron ore's not mooning at this stage. So iron ore was in an exponential move that, let's face it, a lot of people didn't believe. I didn't believe it last time. This time it's a bit more of a slow burn. I think that might help it. Chris. So I think BHP's, I think it's got the goods this time. C6C is the next one. C6C, try that one, Copper Mountain. This one's from Bippen. Looks pretty good. Unfortunately, Bippen, the problem here, and I know I'm a broken record on these copper stocks. The problem is when we get to look at the copper chart, and what we're seeing here is the London closing price, right? So that's why we have to go to a line chart. But you can just see how sideways and how excruciating this is. But I do think it will break out. But what's it going to take? Certainly, I guess Russia's not a huge copper producer. It does have a little bit of copper, but not very much. So it's kind of taken a back seat, hasn't it? So when we look at C6C, well, there you go, ditto, isn't it? It's almost exactly the same chart as copper. But I do think it looks good. I do think it's worth a hold. You're going to be frustrated though, because you're going to look at so many of your other mining companies doing very, very well, and this one kind of treading water. But I like this, and I like the candle today. I think today's candle's great, with the gap as well. What a wonderful gap. Be nice if there was a bit more volume, because we do need to trade with some supply. I think there is a bit of supply sort of just lurking around here and just keeping us down. Then no doubt there's going to be a pool of supply there. So look, not the best one out there, Bippen, but I think it's a solid hold given the circumstances. NC1, this is Anonymous. Now Anonymous, it's not hard to type your name in, okay, and just let us know who you are and become part of the Ask the Experts community. I can't zoom, I just tried to zoom that out. I can't zoom it out because that's all it is, so it's obviously a fairly recent one. It looks amazing. The reason why I haven't been presenting this to you in my feature charts is that it is not enough data. So until I get some of these longer term trends developing and the price action, my scans, they're not going to pick up recent IPOs, and that's okay. I don't mind. Plenty of other stocks up there, and I don't lament missing this one, even though it has looked very good. I mean, I look at it here, and I go, well, that's just the most amazing, wonderful candle. A very shallow pullback from this sort of demand pulse, and then they started to come in again, and are looking very good. absolutely hold it, assuming this candle stays where it is. If it does come back and close near the lows, that would be concerning because there was a little bit of supply in there on that last trading session. Otherwise, it looks great. Would I buy it here? I can't really buy it here as good as it looks because it's just such a long way away from my value zone. So in and around here, that's where I like to pick things up. And once they're up here, then I just have to wait for that next opportunity. Sort of wherever it comes as that value zone develops. So congratulations if you have that one. Anonymous looking very good. Andrew is saying, hey Carl, check out LRV, which looks very good, and thank you for putting it in so soon after the other one, Nico, because it explains why I haven't found it yet. It's just not enough candles. There's not enough price action yet to come up in my scans, but I think it looks great. I'm glad you found it, Andrew. I know you've got your eye in terms of the sorts of candles you want to look at, and this is certainly a very beautiful one here. This is odd, and we saw an earlier one today, didn't we, with that Magnetite Mines, and sometimes you get them, thinner stocks, more obscure stocks. It happens. This is what we want to see for Magnetite Mines, and I think we will see it. So watch out for this again on Magnetite. I know we're getting off topic, but it's a reason why I like this. This is good, and then you get these little ones, but they don't push into the bottom, they don't close below this low. So here's your demand candle, this is the important one, and these ones are pesky, that's good. As I said, that one's good, and then these are pesky, but they don't take out the low of that. So happy to hold, and then we're off to the races again. Look, 100% hang on to it. Could I buy it here? Again, the buying was a few days ago, wasn't it? And now it's kind of just seeing how we go. If you're not in it, you might get another opportunity on a pullback, but it would be a wait and see for that, but it's a very nice looking chart. Andrew is saying he believes there's more room to move, and I believe the same. Anthony is saying let's have a look at AVL, which I know is a very popular one. I'm a little bit concerned about this one because we have seen some pretty continuous selling, and we're going to get pullbacks. Nothing goes up in a straight line, okay, and we will give it every chance to succeed when we're on a nice trend, especially one that has captured the imagination of Australia's investing public. Trading, punting, you decide. But it is on every chat room out there. Unfortunately, we've also got a lot of dead wood in the system, okay, because they were in at 10 and they're regretting it now. If you've been listening to me, we did talk about managing our exits. Certainly on this day here, we considered it. And if not, that was your reason to do it. And if not, that was 100% your reason to do it. And if not, that's your reason to do it. Now, the best demand candle that's come in since all of that supply is this one here. And the problem is these two supply candles that have come in after it. Today's candle is unconvincing. Now, I can give you some very definitive levels here, okay, to work off. We should not close beneath this candle now from here for this trend to continue. If it closes below that low, 6.6, I'm quite concerned that we're going to see a broader sell-off, and it could turn into one of those, real flash in the pan ones that go up for a while and then down for years. Whilst the deadwood laments and chats about it in those chat rooms. And I've seen some crazy things in those chat rooms. I tell you what, it is the blind leading the blind. And every now and then you do see a one-eyed man, and in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. But there are a lot of one-eyed men out there. Now, what could swing this to the upside? That level there, that high there is 7 and 9. So if we see it close above 8, we're back on again. But below 6.6, I'm a bit concerned. I'm concerned about this one because of the sustained and significant supply that's in the system. We should see small supply events. See this little one here? See how tiny this grouping is compared to, say, this, right? That's demand candle, and breaking through that low there is problematic. So I'm a bit concerned about that one. That's for Anthony. Liontown, hopefully we're going to get a better result here. I don't think we will, because we're seeing, again, signs of that sustained supply in the system and a very weak demand response. So this is just screaming of a bunch of unfortunate souls chasing something that was very shiny, and unfortunately is not shiny anymore, and they're a little bit stuck, and therefore that supply is weighing on the market. And then the demand is not from serious money getting in, long-term big money. It was just a flash. So that is concerning. Long-term trend is important. We need to hold that. This, if I had to call the clear manage your exit, and I know I had clients in this one, and we discussed this very clearly, that this candle was a problem because it it was so dominant compared to this demanded candle here. And then this is really a sign to take some profits. And there has been no reason to really get in since then. Would I hold this? I think there's just enough in it to hold it, only just, but you're probably dumping the rest of your position on close below 158. And then just you're done for it and done with it for a period of time until it sorts itself out and wants to go again. There's no point having money sitting in that while it's doing nothing. Now, if you got out at 158 and went straight back up to 2, that's fine. Who cares? It's just about, if you can get it from 2 and ride it to 3, who cares? It's just not relevant. It's about making the most of your capital at any point in time. Just be careful of shiny things in the markets. Well, talking about shiny things, let's have a look for Anonymous at Lake, which actually is not the candle I was expecting today at all. That is extremely shiny today. And it does highlight the deficiencies in Liontown, because why should this be so shiny again? Have only slightly more limited supply events. I mean, these are not great. These put it into that category where I'm concerned. This is very encouraging. We haven't seen that. See this candle here? We haven't seen this candle yet on Liontown. This is encouraging. This is neither here nor there, but this is amazing today. So this, I can certainly get into the hold category, strong hold. Would I buy it here? No, I'm not a buyer here because I don't believe it. Sorry, I don't believe in this. If anything, I'm more looking to potentially manage my second exit if we saw a supply event in here, which I do think we'll see. So I'm being super attentive for the wrong candles in here. What does a wrong candle look like? Something like that in there. Something with a big upper shadow. I'm not going to find one. Maybe that. Again, see that sort of candle in there. I'm looking to knock out the second third of this position. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully it's very strong candles in there and it just sits beneath this pool of supply, gathering steam, gathering momentum, removing that dead wood in the market, and hopefully it just bursts through. And then I don't have to exit another third, and I can just hang on to the remaining position, okay, and try and get some more and more and more out of it. So Lake, I think, looks way better than Liontown at this stage. But I'm going to go with my gut here. I know you can look at this and say, Carl, the candles look amazing. It's bounced off support. The trends are great. I'm just going to go with my gut on this one and say that this candle is scary. It's frightening. And I'm therefore concerned about what might happen here. So I'm going to just hold this back from being a buy. Okay, but it's a strong hold. FFX, so Anonymous has got the lithium full house. 5-inch doesn't look like Liontown, and that's a good thing for 5-inch. Of course, it's a bad thing for Liontown. But we have talked about this many times, haven't we? And I think we've talked about how price action works out, and the fact the price action on this looks pretty good. I'm guessing the last time we talked about it, we were talking about maybe a pullback to the Likering zone, which you could say occurred because now it's heading back up. I'm going to put this in the same category as Liontown. I'm a little bit concerned about this. I don't think this is as powerful a supply signal as maybe the other one, but I certainly think the 2-candle pattern of that one and that one there is enough to put us into this idea that we might have to manage this. There it is there. Manage our exit. So we talked about managing our exit the first time after this candle. We might need to continue to manage our exit in here if the wrong candles appear. Okay. Now the right candles might appear, and then we don't have to do anything. But I'm a bit concerned about that. So it's a solid hold. Wait and see what sort of candles we get in there. If you're not sure what candles, then you better tune in next Tuesday and the next Tuesday and the next Tuesday. Near Metals looks great. That's a very nice looking chart. I think it does speak of demand in the system, consistent demand in the system. A little bit sideways though. So I wouldn't say it's my favourite chart out there, but if I had it, it's 100% a hold. The reason why Neo Metals is having a little bit of trouble here is because we are at that $2 round number level. It spent a lot of time at $1, lo and behold. So a lot of people got in at $1. We know that. I told a lot of people to buy it at $1. I told a lot of people to buy it much lower than that, in fact, at around about 50 cents. And you do see things sort of hover around these round numbers. So people that got in at $1, they're going to want to sell it at $2 for no other reason but they're doubling their money, and we do need to trade with that supply. It does look like we are doing it. There's a bit of sort of ebbing through. You see the elevated volume here, many sessions getting through it. So 100% hold on Neo Metals. Would I buy it? That's actually a really tricky question. Would I buy it? I think you can. I think the only reason why this is struggling is $2, and I think there's enough demand in there to call this one a buy. There's a little bit of a shadow in today's candle. If you're really conservative, let's see this candle close with a nice, strong close towards the highs there, and then that would give you more confidence. Maybe that's what you want to wait for. So I don't know if this is the same Anonymous. We've got GNC, GrainCorp, which looks great. Do I need to manage my exit on this? Actually, yes. I was going to say no, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Now, the reason why I'm not going to give it the benefit of the doubt, hopefully a few of you have spotted it and are screaming at your screen and shouting, Carl, no. I know that candle that you're looking at, because they already know what I'm looking at. They can see that candle. They say, that's not a great candle, Carl, that's a supply candle. And they're going, well, that's not a great candle, but it's not enough to call it a manager exit, right? But they're also going, hey, well, wait a second, Carl, you've also taught us something else. And that is the fact that we tend to have problems getting through big round numbers, and they don't get any rounder, I think, than $10. So I think there's enough reason here to go minus 1/3, because it has had a great run. Let's take a little bit of profit off the table, but 100% I would be holding the other 2/3 to see what happens. And yeah, we might get a little pullback into 9 and you're going to give up a bit of profit there, but the trend is great, and I definitely want to see where this one can go. Could be 12, it could be 15, I don't know. So I want to have some skin in the game. And if it does put in the right candles around here, and it's not a huge pullback, is it, from 10? So yes, there's some supply, but it's pretty mild. Then I could add back that 1/3 or just choose to hold my 2/3. But I do think overall the chart looks good, but I think there's enough reason because of the round number and that candle there to just take a little bit off the table. Elders, another one. I'm guessing Anonymous is following my tweets here, because these are all ones I've been tweeting about. Looks great. Unlike the last one there on GrainCorp, we're not seeing any supply here. It just looks fantastic, and no reason at all to manage your exit on that. So yes, we're going to manage our exits when there's a reason to do so. If there's no reason, why wouldn't we just hold? Chris has said thanks for GMA. He was leaning towards waiting, as I've reaffirmed it. Good. Helen. Now Helen is my favourite, because Helen comes up with some really interesting charts. Not that interesting today, Helen, because you normally come up with those little turnaround plays that I find fascinating. And I'm not saying this is, it's not interesting because it's not a turnaround play. It's very boring. It looks great. It's one of those, bottom left, top right. This is all good. So sometimes boring is beautiful. I'm a firm holder here of Santos. I see no reason to manage our exit. And you might be concerned, oh, well, look, it is slowing down. It's a bit boring. Well, there is a bit of a point of supply here to manage, but I think otherwise it's very good. So I thought you were going to give me one of those little turnaround plays, Helen, but not to be. Maybe next time. Marco has come in with ALU, which is Altium. And this, I think, is in trouble. It's at risk of becoming one of those disaster stories. And I know I've talked about it and been very positive about it in the past. But again, I can't see the future. I'm sorry. I don't know the future. And then if it drops off my tweets, get into Ask the Experts and ask a question, because it might be doing something like this, where we're breaking through short-term support. We then do this, and this here, everybody, X marks a spot. Keep an eye on this type of pattern where we do break that support level, the very bearish candle through here, and then we try and rally back into it. These candles actually are pretty good, and then you see that little supply event and then a falling away, and that X marks a spot is where you just have to be so careful and really be very, very strict and very harsh with your treatment of this one. And then below this low here, that demand. See this demand candle in here? So yes, there was demand there. But if we're beneath that, we're closing beneath it, you know what, that demand's gone. It's not in the system anymore. And the only thing it can do from here is become supply, and then we fall out. And I think we're kind of coming up to one of these events again where we're a bit concerning, because this support, or should be support from the long-term trend, is now offering resistance. I'm a bit concerned about it. I'll give you some redeeming features. I know I'm having a bit of hedging my bets each way, but there's still some nice candles in here. There's still lots of white candles. It's kind of begrudgingly going down. Is there enough to hold it? I think I'm leaning towards just being out, or at least selling some of the position just in case, and maybe looking at it. And I'm going to get a really clear signal here. So what's great about this is I've got such a clear signal as to when I need to look at it again. So 36 or better. Closing at 36 or better, that's when I would look at it again. Now, this is what you have to, you have to decide. Right now it's trading at 32.50 or 30.33 or whatever it is, and you're saying, well, Carl's indicating that he would get out part of his position, and then he would buy it back if it traded at 36. So he's telling me that he would give up $3 of potential profit to get back in at a higher price, and that doesn't make sense. Well, I'm talking about confidence here. I'm talking about probability, and I'm putting to you that the probability of this going from 36 to 44 is increased if we're closing above 36. And if it's down here, then we are very uncertain that this is ever going to go up again. So maybe in those terms, that idea makes more sense. Either way, we probably should have been out of this before, but if we're not, then it's not looking great. If you are intent on holding and you're going to take that path, watch out. We don't want to see it close below 30. Then it could be a very slippery slope from there. And I know this is a great company. It is a great company. It's got a great product. It's a world-class tech company. But again, as much as you can anchor yourself on that, you don't know what the market's thinking right now. We are coming up on time, everybody. So we might need to go very quickly. SRG, just because we do have to plug it sometime. SRG looks great. I definitely hang on to that. Look, let me give you the very, very quick run through, and apologies in advance if I go through these very quickly, but they're going to be 5 seconds a chart. Anthony's asking, what are my favourite stocks on the ASX right now? That's far too broad a question when we're out of time. Anthony, tune in to my Twitter feed and I'll be putting them up this afternoon. From Anonymous, again, BCA, probably a hold there, maybe a manage your exit because of that 50-cent thing, but you definitely want to keep some skin in the game. That looks amazing. SFX, which is one I've been tweeting about, that looks amazing. That's one of the best charts we've seen today. I'm going to go to a buy. I would buy that one right now. SSM, Service Stream. Oh, that's disappointing. I thought that was going to get going. Is it a sell yet? It's very close. So Barry, yeah, we might not get what we want on Service Stream. That little low there, I'm sure you can work it out, Barry. That low there, 93. Don't want to see it close below that. CSL, Scott, doesn't look great, does it? I mean, lots of reasons why that is under pressure. Yeah, maybe there's just enough to hold it, but it doesn't. Geez, I'm really stretching to get to hold on that one. MGT, there was a renounceable rights issue. That might have explained MGT's price action. Thank you for clarifying that, Barry, because I was very confused by it. Lynas Corporation. This one is for Tomo. Welcome, Tomo. I haven't heard from you before, and unfortunately, Lynas is, I don't like that price action, and I don't like those candles. I need to see it hold here. I don't want to see it trade beneath 860. Okay, close below 860, I'm really concerned. It does have plenty of redeeming features in that this long-term trend is still very much intact, and we are very close to this area here. So I'm going to go hold on that one. Now, we are looking at, for Chris, Lunnon Metals, which is is that LM8? Yes, it is. Absolutely hold. Would I still buy? I think you can buy. Look at the very limited reaction to that demand candle. I'd love to be closer to here. That's the only thing, Chris. You know how I operate. This is where we're buying. It still looks very good. It still looks very good. Hang in there if you don't have it. I'll buy. Yeah, I could probably get to a buy. LMG. What are we doing here? LMG. No, I don't think I need to say any more about that, Craig. It looks very flat. MCM. There's signs of life there, Andrew. Yes. I think it looks very interesting. Very cheeky buy on that one. Risk money only, please, but it looks very, very thin. TLX, stop typing them in. I'm trying to get to the bottom of the list. There are some promising signs on that one, Glenn. I can get to a hold on that one. I certainly can't get to a buy. Okay, there's a lot of work that needs to be done to get to a buy. Paladin, I'm very close to the bottom of the list now. Paladin looks great. I would definitely hang on to that. Would I buy it? Yeah, I'd want to have a little bit of skin in the game on that one. And trading or punting, says Barry. He's punting with probability, he prefers to call it. Well done. Blind leading the blind. Barry says he's got one eye on the game. We are at the end. No, Doug, I'm not going to do ALC. I told you not to put any more in. Let's get back to the presentation, and because of course I have to remind you that we will be back next week. So if I didn't answer your question today, jump in very early next week and I'll answer it then. Of course, if you're not a Think Markets client, you should be a Think Markets client, because we are the good guys in the Australian share trading industry. We have all the products you would need at a very competitive price as well. And the thing we pride ourselves on the most is our customer service. You can actually call us up and talk to us and get your problem solved on the spot. Now, if you are not a client of Think Markets, we do have this fantastic free trades offer at the moment. It's normally 10 free trades, but if you tell them that you saw me and ask the experts, you will get a bonus 10. Some T's and C's there to the website for that, or call your customer service representative. And if you're already a client of Think Markets, we do have this wonderful Refer a Friend program, where if you bring 4 friends over to us, I'm sure they're still trading with their banks and playing crazy rates, you will get a bunch of free trades as well. Apart from that, if you're watching me on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the bell icon to get notified, and of course, bang a thumbs up button to let us know you love what we're doing. That's the end of the presentation. It has been a pleasure chatting with you today. All the best until we catch up again. Bye-bye for now.